it wasn't all plain sailing. So if you were to give me almost like a laundry list of just either different things or different situations or problems that you knew you needed to surmount, what are the ones that come to mind?
The other big issue, our CRM did not allow for us to properly calculate our receivables. Shinny was able to build a true receivables system. Even little things, guys. I mean, we have a small but mighty team, but they need breaks. I'm like, hey, can y'all please build a time off leave request form that comes through to me and sends notification? We didn't have one centralized place to say, this is the invoice, it's matched with this client, and it's due on this date, and we've already paid 20%. Frankly, the vendor management system was chef's kiss that they built leads, right? As people came in, our CRM did tell us where they came from, TikTok, Google, but we didn't have dashboards to say, hey, of the people that you're converting, 80% is coming from TikTok or this or whatever. Even if you want to invest in 4 platforms and put marketing out on 4 platforms, you can't make a decision because all you have is a form that they filled out, knowing where they came from, but you don't have a graph, a pie chart, or anything, again, on how did we convert them? How did we bring them in? What's working and what's not. So I think from the lead standpoint, that's been huge to see. Operationally, being able to see which contracts and things are going through. And then the last thing is the task management system. That was the other big thing that was lacking from our system. How do we follow up with leads, people that we've sent quotes to make sure that we can close them? And then once they are converted to brides, obviously the team has tons of tasks that need to be done, and those need to be tracked as well.
So from a head count perspective, it went from 2 to 30 to 40.
It's about 40. I know we've got about 25 on the ground, and at least there's about 10 to 15 of us on, the back end. And of course, that doesn't include, we probably have about at least 60 to 70 vendor partners. So very rapid scale. I won't give our revenue numbers, but I will say we are on track to 10x this year what we did last year. So 10x revenue growth in 1 year. There isn't one thing, it's probably not the answer you want, but it's truly the aggregate of all the things that you have built truly coming into one place where it all makes sense. That's the biggest thing.
That was a very interesting time as well, because it's kind of like you look at your own work and instead of reveling in it and marveling it, you look at it and you say, I'm really happy that actually delivered as much.
Hire Sheni. End of story.
So, welcome everyone. I have the wonderful Fallon here. Fallon, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hello, everyone. I'm Fallon Scott. I'm all the way across the pond in Atlanta, Georgia, from Texas. And I'm a CPA by profession. I've not done that in years and kind of been all over the place from network marketing and direct sales to having my own businesses to corporate America, scaling businesses. And now I'm a photography studio / wedding venue owner. And I also have a marketing and operations consultancy.
Nice. That's someone of many hats, as we like to see.
Too many.
So we've been working together since, was it been March, February?
I say February, March-ish. It's 6 months at least. I think we're just about the 6-month mark.
Yes. Can you kind of give everybody sort of like a brief background into yourself, where in particular we worked, and just we can get started off with how things got kicked off in February? Yeah,
so like I said, right now my sister and I co-own a wedding studio, photography studio turned wedding venue and event space. That was not the plan. We thought it was just going to be a very passive type of investment. People can come, book, take your pictures and leave. Now we're a full service, all inclusive wedding venue. So that's really important for the entire conversation and why I'm even here with Sheni. And so when I reached out in February, frankly, it was just because we're navigating this new space of offering weddings, but all-inclusive weddings come with a lot of things, a lot of vendors, who's going to provide tables and chairs and this and at what price and all of these different variables. And we were you got to start somewhere, using Google Sheets for everything, for our pricing, for this, vendor list, team list, who's doing what, staffing. It was just, frankly, a mess, and it wasn't sustainable as we scaled hockey stick growth, like very rapidly and unexpectedly. And so I knew from all my work in ops, I used to develop CRM systems for clients and do their process maps and all that. I knew that our process and our infrastructure that we were using was not going to be able to support our operations. So The CRM was taking in information. We're using Google Sheets to create quotes for clients, and a lot of opportunity for error with man-made, people trying to put all these different variables in the system. And we needed a standardized way to document multiple pieces of information. I think we probably built 20, 30 tables in our Airtable together. Well, not me. Shinny has built 30 tables together as the backbone of our operations, and to help all of the different systems and tech stack actually speak to each other to give us data that we need in a way that we can actually make data-driven decisions. And we just did not have that. And I knew that was not going to be, like I said, sustainable.
Yeah. And having seen the Google Sheets firsthand, it was definitely a mission making sure that was all put in place, and making sure that the calculations that need to be made were being made correctly, and getting everything in place so that you now have essentially one-click solutions across the board, especially when it came to a lot of the quote customization stuff. So let's actually rewind to December, January, around January this year. What was the business doing in that time? If you were to kind of take me back in time, what was actually occurring?
Yep. So I was actually starting May last year. So we actually opened the venue in May. It wasn't even fully ready. If people wanted to come in and start using it, we were still getting windows installed, and it's a glass house. It looks like a greenhouse. So from about May until December, we were really just operating as a photo studio. But people, from day one, you have to listen to your market. From day one, people started having proposals there. It was like a beautiful space for people to come do proposals. So we quickly, maybe 90% of our bookings were for proposals, which are basically intimate events, because it wasn't 99% of them. It wasn't just the couple. It was the couple and their guests. So this is an event now. So I feel like we kind of got branded as like the Love Shack, or like the place of love. And so then people were like, well, I don't want to just get proposed here. I want to elope here. I want to have a micro wedding here. So October, November, December, we had 2 or 3 weddings there, and we blew up with showing one of those weddings. And to keep it nice, one of the weddings that we had, my sister was a little frustrated and was like, oh my gosh, I still ended up doing so much of this work, even though they had a coordinator there. And without getting into that, my sister is basically the plug in Atlanta. She started off as a wedding photographer and now has her other company is a styled shoot company. Very long story short, all the big venues in Houston hire my sister to create fake weddings for their marketing. So there will be anywhere from 50 to 100 vendors that she has to coordinate with. And then they will have 10, 20, 30 models and hundreds of photographers that come in to shoot that event. And I'm like, you already know the florists and the caterers and the date. I mean, anyone that you could think for a wedding, she had it. So December, it was Christmas week because I was home. I live in Atlanta, the venue's in Houston. My mom was pretty pissed because I spent Houston. I really feel like, honestly, that God just downloaded everything. I could just see it so clearly. I was like, we're moving to all-inclusive weddings. You have the vendors, you have the connections, they trust you, you've worked with them for years. We can do this instead of having people just book us for a blank space and they're bringing in all their own people. So in December, I created 5 different packages, starting from $1,000 up to $20,000, just increasing obviously what they would get in each package. So I created that in December. We launched it in January at the Big Bridal Expo in Houston, which was perfect timing because everyone gets engaged Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's, and it took off. So December and January was us just figuring out and putting on some of these smaller weddings and having people get interested and realizing, oh, I don't have this piece, or I don't have this piece, or we got this. We got the packages and the pricing and we got the vendors, but like, oh, in order to execute this, or the vendors are going to be sending us invoices for florals, and this vendor wants us to secure with a 20% booking, and this vendor wants this. Like, all of these nuances that you don't think about until you start and launch it. That's what was happening January, February. It was very clear to me, oh, I need a whole robust system to undergird and actually deliver this new product. So December, January, February was figuring out all the things that we needed to deliver this efficiently while trying to hire and train a team to do so. So December, it was my sister and I. By January, I rehired one of my admins who'd worked with me for years in my consulting business. So happened she had some additional time. She came back, and then from there, I think we've got like 20, 30 people on the team now between back end staff and, well, actually about closer to 40 considering the front end. So it's been a lot of hiring, a lot of figuring it out, plugging up the holes, identifying holes, and then hiring people like Shinny to come and build these custom solutions so we can deliver.
So from a head count perspective, it went from 2 to 30 to 40.
Yeah, it's about 40. Because I know we've got about 25 on the ground, and at least there's about 10 to 15 of us on, the back end. And of course, that doesn't include, we probably have about at least 60 to 70 vendor partners. It's for that to happen in the last 6 to 8 months has been overwhelming to just be honest. It's been overwhelming in a good way. It's like the blessings that you pray for, but then it's like, whew, this is heavy. So very rapid scale. I won't give our revenue numbers, but I will, just because I know we got a lot of competitors watching our stuff and coming in every day. But I will say we are on track to 10x this year what we did last year. So 10x revenue growth in 1 year is, the type of stuff that people dream of until they're actually living it. So I'm happy about it, but yeah.
And obviously, if we look back at December, January, February, whilst this was occurring, it wasn't all plain sailing. So if you were to give me almost like a laundry list of just either different things or different situations or problems that you knew you needed to surmount, what are the ones that come to mind that are sort of like top of mind there?
I think we've got everything from, like I said, the quotes was a huge issue. I was the one actually building quotes for brides. So we have these packages, but nobody wants the same thing. Well, this one's for 30 people, but can I get this package for 50? Well, that 50 affects the tables, the chairs, the amount of linens, the hair. I mean, everything. There's so many levers that get pulled. So the quote, creating custom quotes and making sure they were the same, that our margin was calculated properly was like number one. The other big issue, our CRM did not allow for us to properly calculate our receivables. So I'm a CPA by profession. Numbers are a big deal to me, and it was really bothering me that anytime we sent an invoice out in our CRM, the system would count that as a receivable. Well, it's not a receivable, it was really a quote. Not a receivable until they've signed a contract and they become a client and we are expected to receive this money. So Sheni was able to build, I guess I'm saying both, the issue and what you've been able to do, but he was able to help us build a true receivables system to say, hey, this is paid clients. These are the ones that have signed contracts. And now we can see this is the true receivables that we have. So we can make, again, data-driven decisions, cash flow, things like that. On the flip side of that, same thing with payables now. We've got all these vendors, which is great. We're able to put on these, fabulous weddings. However, now we've got 20, 30, 40, 50 invoices a week that we're sending out. Officiants, florals, caterers, this, tent person, mobile bar, and again, what is our cash flow doing? What do we have coming in versus what's coming out? My team was using Slack. Hey, we got this email from this vendor. They just sent their invoice. Fallon, we're in our payables channel. Time to go pay this one. Again, so I should say this too. My profession as an auditor was not, as a CPA was not on the tax side. I was an auditor. So I'm a risk person. I used to do audits and enterprise risk management. So every day I'm looking at my entire company from a risk lens, like, oh my God, what if this vendor sent us the invoice twice in the email? Maybe nothing malicious, but what if my team is doing their job? They take it from Gmail. Hey, we've got this invoice. They send it to me in Slack and I pay it. What if we're overpaying? We didn't have one centralized place to say, this is the invoice, it's matched with this client, and it's due on this date, and we've already paid 20%. And even then, we get an invoice, we didn't have anywhere to log, this is the next amount that's due or the total amount due. So I can, again, see cash flow wise, okay, we've got X amount coming in and this amount going out in the next 30 days, 60 months, 6 months. What can we do? Can we hire? Can I give raises? All of these things that you should be doing as, a business owner, as you're scaling, as you're growing, as your team is making contributions. I can't afford to lose these people that we just hired. They're all amazing, but how can I also retain them? When can I give raises and bonuses and all of that? So the invoices, obviously, huge thing from both perspectives, coming in and going out, clients and vendors, being able to track that. And then, frankly, the vendor management system was chef's kiss that they built, because when you're working with, in the way that we work, it's one thing to have the list of vendors. Then you've got all the things that these vendors provide, but then you've got, does this one charge tax? Does this one charge delivery fees? Do they charge delivery fees if it's late night, but they don't charge it if the wedding's at 5 p.m.? There are so many freaking nuances that you don't think about. And again, we needed to record that in a database in a way that all we're doing is saying bride A wants this, boom, it's connected to this vendor and the correct cost is covered and pulled out. So I think those are just a couple. Another one that I will say, leads, right? If you're thinking about your business from an entire sales process, you've got your marketing going out. Hopefully you convert them and have sales coming in. Then you got your contracts and invoices and payment. Then you've got to deliver whatever the service is. And that's your workflow. And what is your team doing and all that. From a marketing standpoint, we were starting to do that a little bit. Everything was happening organically. We were investing in SEO and all these things. But as people came in, our CRM did tell us where they came from. TikTok, Google, whatever. But I didn't know, for when we're looking at conversion, we didn't have dashboards to say, hey, of the people that you're converting, 80% is coming from TikTok or this or whatever. If you are in this situation and you're a business owner, you're like, oh, I can't take on social media anymore. I want to hire a social media agency. They've got a package that's this much if they manage 2 platforms or this much if they've managed 4 platforms. Well, right now we can only afford the 2 platform. Which 2 platforms are you telling the social media people to invest in? You don't know. Because you're not able to make data-driven decisions. Even if you want to invest in 4 platforms and put marketing out on 4 platforms, maybe the 2 that are doing really well, you don't have them do. And maybe you have them invest in the 2 that are, weaker. Or maybe you just want to go ham in the other 2. Either way, you can't make a decision because all you have is a form that they filled out, knowing where they came from, but you don't have a graph, a pie chart, or anything, again, on how did we convert them? How did we bring them in? What's working and what's not? So I think from the lead standpoint, that's been huge to see. Operationally, being able to see which contracts and things are going through. And then the last thing is the task management system. We got these leads that came in. When are we following up with them? We've got it. We've got a team that follows up with leads. They're on our Google Voice. We've got automated stuff. When was the last time we followed up with them? Are we tracking? Last date contact. If anybody's outside of a 60 or 90 day window and they haven't been converted, they need to be popped up on a dash and say, hey, time to reach out to this person again. The CRM did not have that capability. Most times people are so concerned about the marketing. I got to market. Once the leads have come in, that's your goal. That's where you should focus. Close those people that have already told you that they're interested. Yes, you've got to do both, but that was the other big thing that was lacking from our system. How do we follow up with leads, people that we've sent quotes to make sure that we can close them? And then once they are converted to brides, obviously the team has tons of tasks that need to be done, and those need to be tracked as well.
Yes. And on that tracking note as well, because there are a series of different types of tasks that need to occur, whether it be the moment a call has been booked and you know that you need to create a quote, to the moment that the quote gets filled in and you now need to do the things that are required between the moment that money comes in and when the wedding date is meant to be. If we're talking about that specific part right there, where it's, corralling all the vendors and making sure all the different people are in place, the D&D meetings, etc. are all on the way. Talk to me about that part as far as what was there, what was missing, and what was now, and what's currently working.
I think this is good too, because we are a true example of startup. I know we're not tech, but we're startup in the sense of truly building the plane while you're flying it. So from every issue, I'm a process person. So from every issue, it was what's the SOP that we're going to put in place? What's the solution here? And for example, the D&D meeting, we started realizing, hey, we are truly acting as coordinators for these weddings. Well, once they pick their package and all of that, we've on our end, we've reached out to all the vendors, we've secured them, we've retained their services. But hey, it's 2 or 3 months out now from the wedding. Are you walking down the aisle with someone? Do you have a bridal party? What's the list? What's your music? There are so many details, right? So the D&D meeting that you mentioned is what we call it. It's a final meeting where we gather all design and details for that meeting. That came about because we were the forms you're filling out and all that, that's not enough. We have to sit with you. We have to have a D&D meeting. We need to go through this. So a lot of what I call delivery of getting people from booked to across the finish line or across the aisle, came about all of these different processes. Reach out to the officiant. We need to send an email to make sure that the officiant can meet the couple, because we don't want you to meet the officiant on the day of the wedding. Well, that's a task that has to be done. How far in advance does that task need to be done? Maybe my team did their part and they set up the meeting with the officiant and the whatever. How are we going to make sure that it actually happened? You know, did it go well? So from securing the vendors, having us have every detail of it, we got to create a wedding timeline. We have to send that timeline to every couple, vendor, officiant, blah, blah. Like, all of these pieces have to come together. So being able to build that out in a true task management system in a chronological way, so that all the different members of my team, okay, you go handle all payments and contracts. You go handle everything that has to do with the details and design and timeline. You're handling everything that has to do with post-event. There's several post-event tasks that need to happen, from a marketing standpoint to, you know, gathering Google reviews, all of that kind of stuff, getting surveys. Okay, you go handle post-event, you go handle this. So segmenting out that sales process and delivery process amongst the team and being really clear on what everyone needs to do and when they need to do it has been an ongoing, again, build the plane while you fly it. Hey, this didn't go that great. We need to put XYZ in place. So I will also say, I'm kind of skipping ahead, why you need to hire Shinny. I'm sure that there's been many days he was rolling his eyes at us, but him and his team and Percy have really been flexible. They've been patient, because so many things have changed as we've been building this together, you know, which I really appreciate the fluidity of your service for sure.
We love that as well. So if we go in and talk specifically about sort of like the experience that you've had with us, what would you say? And again, there's a lot, so we'll try and narrow down on specific things, but what would you say is the biggest challenge that we helped you overcome, such that by overcoming it, sort of like everything else became a little bit easier?
I mean, that's a hard one, because of everything I've said. So many of those pieces were critical, right? It wasn't one thing. I mean, I think getting the quotes off our back in the way that you has been phenomenal. I know we can't like show you guys everything we built, but that has had a major impact on the team, on our response time to customers, to be able to get quotes out, to be able to get multiple people on the team now trained. There's so many nuances with quotes that, you know, Janelle, we really only had me and her that was able to do it. Now we've got 5 or 6 people that are able to come in and get these quotes out within 24 hours. That is mind-boggling to me, considering how long it used to take us to do some of these things. So that has been huge. But I think what you said in the beginning, having one place for everything. Yes, we've got Dubsado for our CRM, and we've got this, we've got Zapier, and we've got all this stuff, but the team now has one centralized place, and I have one place now with the dashboards to see everything that I need to see from an owner perspective. I mean, even little things, guys. I mean, we have a small but mighty team, but they need breaks. They've got to take vacation. I'm like, hey, can y'all please build a time off leave request form that comes through to me and sends a notification? And well, if this person is gone, they're the main person that does this, and they've got these 28 tasks to do today, how can we see that so somebody can come in and pick up these tasks? So there isn't one thing. It's probably not the answer you want, but it's truly the aggregate of all the things that you have built truly coming into one place where it all makes sense. That's the biggest thing, because that was the headache. It was the disconnected, disjointed systems of it all.
Yeah, and it's almost like the whole is greater than the sum of its parts in that sense. That's where there's it's not just one thing. There's 8 or 9 different things that on a macro perspective that need to be built, of which there are, 9, 10, 15 different nuances within each of the 8, 9 or 10 things to make sure that everything flows the way that it's meant to flow, so that work can be operated on the way that it needs to be operated on, and that everything can be efficient. So on that same note then, how would you say, or how would you see the work that we've currently done impacting you going forwards?
Oh yeah. Without, again, saying too much, I'm like, we can scale now. I mean, we've been scaling and growing, and I really I'm careful about using that word scale. You technically have you can have hyper growth and not be, scaling. But when we talk about scaling in the traditional sense of the word, of being able to do more with less, being able to keep the same, for the most part, number of team members, but have either, whether it's multiple locations or whatever that, that looks like, offering more services. We now have, again, the system, infrastructure, tech, SOPs to be able to support that. And there's just no way. I wouldn't have even entertained. I'm still not entertaining it. My husband and another co-owner are trying to, it's go time. Y'all ready? Let's go. Let's go get this lease. Let's go do another one. I'm like, hold up. Just hold up. But I know if when we do go do the next thing, we've got the bases. We've got it down, and we can duplicate this. And frankly, I know that I can help other business owners and that are having these same issues with visibility, systems that don't talk to each other, not having efficiency in the team, not having visibility or tracking of critical functions in their business, from task management to financials to whatever, to marketing and conversion tracking. These are the basics that you have to have if you want to actually run a profitable business and not be doing all the things and be able to bring people on. So this system gives us the opportunity to now do that in whatever way we choose to do it as we grow. And we can do it smarter. We can do it not based on what we think or a whim or whatever. I tell my husband sometimes, like, you're right, my guy, but just hold on. Let me go see what the numbers say. Let's go see, I didn't talk about this earlier, but with all those vendor invoices, like, I can actually look. We can pull reports. We can look at the data and say, which vendors are we paying the most? Which chairs are being requested the most? We can go invest now and buy those chairs instead of having to send a $500 invoice out every week for this type of chair, right? And so that's something else that I'm focused on, is before we worry about, we got this system now, let's go scale and do it at 50 million locations. How can we make this as efficient as possible? How can we bring in more revenue? How can we minimize our costs going out? How can we get this thing tight because of what you've built? So when we do go do the next one, it's smooth sailing.
Nice. I like that mention about the vendors that provide different things, because I even saw that whilst we were going from conversation to conversation, that there were just times where, oh no, we already have all of that now, or we don't need to go for these vendors anymore. We already have the flyers, we already have the bouquets, we already have the insert the tent or whatever it may be. It's nice to see that the actual system in and of itself has allowed you to make the decisions to purchase those things and essentially save yourself the cost of going out every single time, spending on the delivery, spending on so on and so forth. So on that note as well, then, if someone was deciding between working with me, another ops person, a particular VA, or whatever it may be, as far as that actual like working system goes, what would you recommend based on your experience from working with us so far?
Hire Sheni. End of story. I found someone else to kind of get started, and they weren't bad, but they just did not have the level of expertise and understanding to execute what we needed in this way. So they started building a couple tables, and I was like, this ain't gonna cut it. Came across Shinny. And ironically enough, we were making this video, but that's what made me hire him. I'd seen some of his other stuff on YouTube or wherever I'd seen it, and I was like, oh, he knows what he's doing. And so being able to, when I used to build and help people build their CRMs, and not custom, like literally through Dubsado or other CRM platforms that existed, but they couldn't put all the pieces together. You have to start with process. You have to be able to pull out or have someone that can articulate a process. He can't go build anything. He has to build it according to your process. And so that's, again, where I'm thankful for his expertise, his knowledge, his patience, all of that, because we were building the process as we were doing it. And he was able to understand all the nuances to be able to build it correctly. And I will say this too. There was some stuff that they built. I think it was the original quote system. He's like, you know what, we're going to break this. We're going to break it. Now that we have this understanding, we're actually going to rebuild it in a better way. I work with tons of contractors, vendors, really smart people that even just from the sake of their own time and effort could have easily been like, yeah, y'all are going to have to suffer with what we built at first. But he's like, no, this makes more sense. It's going to be better for you. Let me build it. Obviously, he's like, he built it for free. We still paid. It probably was another month of work just for that. But either way, we have what we need now. And so to work with someone with that level of integrity to say, nah, we can do this better. Let's go back. That means a lot.
That was a very interesting time as well, because it's kind of like you look at your own work, and instead of reveling in it and marveling it, you look at it and you say, no, this isn't fit for purpose. If the thing doesn't work, it's not worth giving to someone. And we knew that it didn't work based on the new information that came about. And that's kind of the benefit of the conversation that we were having on a 2-weekly basis, because it meant that we could have an understanding of what's currently new, having an understanding of what's updated with the processes, and then build according to that, which is the process that we'd followed the entire time. So I'm really happy that that actually delivered as much of a. To be fair, I knew it was going to be good because the moment I even revealed it, I heard claps across the room. So I was pretty happy about how it looked,
Claps,
anyways.
screams. I think I recorded it. I still have it, like me sending it to the team. It's like, oh my God. I have all of their reactions. Janelle was like, this is mind blowing. This changes everything, which has been their reaction pretty much every 2 weeks since then for every new thing that has come about. So it has truly been life changing for our
I
work.
appreciate it. I appreciate it a lot, and credit goes to you as well because yes, there was a level of quote unquote patience required, but the communication's been top notch on your end as well, and it's been very nice having the level of closeness that we've had so far when it came to building a lot of this because
Yeah.
there's things that we need to know. There's
Yeah.
things that you ended up providing us which were beneficial, and there are a lot of conversations that we were able to just digest on our own that
Yeah.
enabled us to build exactly what we needed to build so far. So,
Yeah.
given all of that, any last words, any last recommendations, anything else that comes top of mind?
I just hire him. Like, and it's one of the things where a lot of times you don't know what you don't know. Even if your business is super established, if you're not startup, if you're whatever, I promise you, even from doing the consulting work that I've done, the auditing work that I've done, whether it was working for Delta Airlines or working with, new entrepreneurs, there are gaps in your business, period. I have never in my, I don't know, 15, 20-year career, I don't know how old I am at this point and how long I've been out of school, but I have never once not worked with a company, large or small, that did not have gaps in their operations that needed to be fixed by process and tech, automations, things speaking to each other. So even if you don't know where to begin, you may have an idea, talk to ChatGPT. I will say I'm really pleased. I went back to my original 10-minute voice note that I sent to ChatGPT back in February and was like, this is everything going wrong in the business. I need a dashboard for this. This isn't working. I don't have visibility into this. And it just generated this crazy list of this is what you need built. And I went back to that the other day before we met and then before this call. And I'm like, I think 85% of everything on this list has been built. And the stuff that hasn't is like, we really don't even need it right now. Or I thought I needed it back then and things have just evolved. And I was just like, I feel like, oh, we did it. We really, it took us 6 months, but we did it. And I feel really good about it. So get with him, walk through that process, let him see where the holes are and what he can do to make it better. It's going to create a level of efficiency, standardization in your business, visibility, again, at the end of the day, to help you make data-driven decisions, so that you can really operate in the way that you should be.
Nice. Thank you very much, Fallon.
Thank
Where can
you.
people find you?
Okay, forget me. You can find the McKinsey House at themckinseyhouse.com. There's no C, MAKENZIE on Instagram, Twitter, the McKinsey House. If you're looking for me or my consulting agency, you can go to f28co.com, f28co.com. My personal Instagram, it's open. It's THE Fallon Rice. It's my maiden name still, RICE. I'm around. You can find me on LinkedIn. I'm never really on there. I'm probably going to put this on there. But yeah, I'm here.
Nice. And on my end, there'll be a link somewhere around this video where
Yeah.
you can find out some more information, but that's icarusgrowth.com.
Yes. Thank you so
Nice.
much.
Thank
From
you,
the bottom of
Fallon.
my heart. For the whole team.
Nice. See you guys later.